What's up, everyone? It's Phoenix here, bringing you guys another video. So, this time, I bring very unfortunate news. And that is, I'm sure you guys probably know, but maybe you don't. There's no great way to say this, but today, Stan Lee died. Today is the day that Stan Lee died at 95 years old. And instead of, mourning about it, I want to talk about the stuff that he's accomplished in his lifetime. He is one of the sole responsibility. That doesn't make sense. He is one of those people who literally made your childhood and my childhood. Whether you grew up in the original comic book era, when they were just being released, when Marvel and DC didn't hate each other necessarily, and when they even did a whole crossover thing with the comics, and he made a lot of what you guys know today. He is responsible for Iron Man, Thor, Incredible Hulk, Black Panther, Avengers. He's responsible for all of that because he made that universe what it was. Even had a little bit in the DC universe itself. It wasn't the greatest that he's ever made, but he still had, a hand in the DC universe when he actually wrote a comic book about Batman. He did a different sort of take on Batman, but it was still, a contribution. It didn't last. It didn't really, do much. But he's still one of the, I think he was probably the oldest living comic book creator, one of the originals, along with all of the others who made Superman, Batman, all of them who are responsible for giving us this world that we live in, with both the DC universe and the Marvel universe. Whether you favor one or the other, he is definitely responsible for them being how they are. He's not the only one who, made that stuff, but he's definitely a great influence on that. He was a brilliant comic book writer, and he was a brilliant influencer just in general, right? We can praise Kevin Feige and Zack Snyder and the animated series and all of those that were created afterwards, whether you love them or hate them. But most of that had to do was made possible because of Stan Lee, because he was the person who made this world that we know and love or hate. He set a precedent for just comic books in general. He built this whole world that was connected to each other. It might have been a ripoff of DC a little bit, but he still made something special that people could love and grow up with and look up to. He made icons that people would later grow up and love and want to become, even if it wasn't possible. There's so many people that dress up as Marvel and DC heroes that all want to aspire to be just like them, even if it is impossible. And just having that connection to all those kids and teenagers and even adults growing up reading these stories, living with these characters for however long they choose to stay with, the comic books and even the comic book movies. Even first being introduced to the comic book world. I mean, a majority of people don't even know that the comic book universe really exists. They know of the movies, They know of the Avenger movies and Thor and Iron Man, and those are pretty much all they know about the comic book universe. But there's so much to it that, it's really hard to think that this person who has influenced so much, and yeah, he's not perfect. No one is, right? He's made his mistakes. He's done his, things that maybe he's not necessarily proud of. But at the same time, he's done so much for us, for you, for everyone, that it's important to remember that. I know there were accusations of Stan Lee doing things in his retirement home, but honestly, it's just not. Whether that's true or not, which I don't think it is true, but whether it's true or not, it's still important to remember the good things that he's done, especially on this day. It's never easy to lose someone, no matter how old they are, whether they're your grandfather, your grandmother, your father, your mother, no matter what. It's always hard to lose someone. But it's especially hard to lose someone when they're so connected to your life, your childhood. Even though, he might not be a relative, he still had a greater influence on many of us. He had a very great influence on so many. And that's just really important to realize. And it's hard to think, he's been in so many, Marvel movies, his classic cameos. He's been in Disney movies, with Big Hero 6, when he cameoed in there. And he's been in so involved in so much, that he really helped change the world and to give this light to the comic book universe. I'm obviously more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan, but that doesn't mean I can't appreciate the work that he's done, the influence that he's had, and the stories that he's told. I grew up as a DC fan, yeah. And I didn't even really know that Marvel existed until pretty much when Spider-Man was first released. That's when I started to see the Marvel universe for what it was. The first Tobey Maguire movie, probably one of the first Marvel movies. Technically it's Sony, but it's the same thing. But yeah, it's definitely sad. Don't really know what else to say. I don't really have anything else to say, but other than to remember the good things that he's done, and remember the impact that he's had, and just remember the positive memories that he's been able to give people. He's had so much influence on so much that it's hard to know that he's gone. Anyways, comment down below a time where you think that Stan Lee had an influence on your life. whether it was, through a Marvel movie or through a comic book or just in general. Just comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast.